crowd, Mike. Is it this one?
Oh, yeah, 4.
Picking up that bass.
Yeah, are ya?
You know, the bass of the music is picking it up.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead and pick it up. We'll go on here.
Go ahead and test it.
All right, we're on the air here back before the Fort Calhoun Ashland-Greenwood game. Thank you. And Mark Adele has the stats from the girls' game previously. Mark, what do they look like?
Well, they played really well today, and it's a good win for them. 19 of 38 from the field for 50%. 4 of 12 from 3, which might not leap off the page at you, but they were shooting just 25% from 3 coming in, so that's a big improvement. 12 of 23 from the line, 52%. For Fort Calhoun, they were 12 of 40 for 30%. Just 1 of 5 from 3, 20%. And just 1 of 8 at the line for 13%. They just did not shoot the ball very well today. They rebounded well. That's the one thing they did well. They got 29 rebounds, 12 offensive. We got 23, 7 offensive. They turned it over 20 times to 9 for us. Give a shout out to Marley Glock and Paige Comstock. I thought played their best games of the year. And I thought that Olivia Pike, Bree Scheftor, and Emma Keith rebounded well for us.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. And folks, we're going to jump right into it as we welcome you back to Ashland, Nebraska, the Birdcage, where tonight your Ashland-Greenwood Blue Jays and the Fort Calhoun Pioneers, they meet again after meeting twice a year ago, the Blue Jays winning both of them. And this is going to be a fun one, folks, so buckle up and enjoy as we just came off that unified game, which was something special right there. And I cannot wait to introduce the team I get to work with tonight. On the technicals, running the camera, he'll be giving us his 2 cents as well, and a lot more than that. And that's our junior, Elliot Gosson. And the man on my right, the man who coached at Ashland-Greenwood for many years, took a team deep into state, losing to a 7-footer in Shattering in the state semifinals. Brad Jacobson, who also doubles, by the way, folks, as our school principal. And Brad, before we get started with this one, hey, that unified game a moment ago, you came up here, still pretty emotional. It really gets to your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah, those have just become something that we really look forward to, and I think we weren't the first, but in our area, in our conference, we were definitely the first. Kristen Fangmeyer has really taken the lead on that, and I think that was our second game of the year because we went to Milford earlier in December.
That's right.
We had hosted Milford in that same type of a game, and they've been to our track meet over the years, and Milford put on their own event, so our kids were able to get on a bus and travel to Milford and had a game. So, it just the sheer joy, when some of those kids made baskets and the sheer joy of the assist and the extra effort to get other people a chance to shoot and those kind of things. It really is a great event, and the place was absolutely packed. This place was a standing ovation, and it was just great.
And the players came out, sat on the stage here, watched them as well. And look, we can't transition into this game without, you talked about selflessness in that last game. That moment when Logan Feathers handed the ball off to one of his classmates, what a special moment that was.
Yeah, Logan likes to shoot, and Logan got a steal, and he was at a full head of steam and absolutely stopped on a dime and handed it off to Caden. And Caden's new to us this year, too, so I thought it was really a cool moment to see Logan do that. So yeah, that was awful cool.
Well, we're going to segue now into this varsity basketball game between the number 1 rated and 9-0 Ashland-Greenwood Blue Jays taking on a Fort Calhoun squad at 6-4 coming into this one. And Brad, I think the storyline here a year ago, both of these squads, incredibly special seasons. The Blue Jays went on to win their first ever state title in any sport, any boys sport. And Fort Calhoun, the first time in 99 years that they had gone to state, and they almost get to the championship game and play the Blue Jays. So they come off of that year into this season, and both teams really rolling with some momentum after that special year.
Yeah, lost an overtime game to Auburn in the semifinals, probably, and as I watched that game, probably a flop call away from they had some guys got in foul trouble on some pretty shaky block charges, in my opinion. As somebody, I was pulling for Fort Calhoun as a conference member. Certainly, that's part of, I think, our last several games against Fort Calhoun have been really meaningful games. Last year was the game that decided the regular season, and we played in the conference tournament championship game against them, and that was a whale of a basketball game. I think they had the lead late in the third and maybe even into the fourth for a stretch there. Really a good ball game, and that was one of those games for us that kind of was a wake-up call for our guys. I mean, it kind of refocused our guys, and from then on we played really pretty good basketball. And then, of course, almost played in the state finals, and that's something pretty special, I think, for both communities. And I think the crowd today reflects that too. The interest in both communities in basketball, and the girls programs are getting themselves back and developing again too. And I think it's been a really great day here, and we're happy to host them. I think it might be the last time we're going to play. I think with the new conference, it didn't work out to keep each other on the schedule anymore. So this will be the last time that we'll play for quite a while. So.
And the folks have made sure they've come out here tonight. We got a really good crowd. But the Blue Jays coming off an exceptional game on Tuesday night Monday against Auburn. Went down to Auburn. The place was electric. It was lively. And midway through that second quarter, the Blue Jays had really taken the Auburn faithful out of that game. And I mean to tell you, they put it all together. So coming off a game like that from Monday, how does that help the Blue Jays coming into tonight?
Yeah, I think certainly they were really solid. They did a lot of things really well, and they repeated it. And they just kept. And Auburn's a hard team to consistently do things well against because they do things well, and they make it difficult, and they defend well. And so there are certain things that you have to do. I think you have to move the ball side to side. You have to use good shot selection. You have to attack at the right time and shoot the three at the right time. And it's hard because they're defensively really good, and we just consistently made the right choice over and over again. And Brooks made a whole bunch of baskets. But part of why he made a bunch of baskets was he made some really good decisions, which means his shots were better, which means they're going to go in at a higher percentage. So I think the challenge always with probably any sports, certainly with teenagers, is to be able to move on to the next task, right? Because you go on the road, you play somebody. The place, like you said, I think maybe even palpable, one might even say.
I saw you chuckle.
Yeah,
you
one
thought
might
I was
even
going
play.
there.
I thought you were going there, and and just to literally just squeeze the life out of the home crowd that night. And I mean, it's because we played so well, and so everybody pats you on the back for a week, and you don't get to play for a while, and now you got to and looming next. I mean, everybody sees it on the schedule is Platteview Trojans, another whale of a team. It's Tuesday night over at their place. Probably a bunch of TV cameras lined up on the baseline and news reporters and all kinds of things. That's just a really, really big game. So sometimes that can be difficult to keep your focus on what's the most important. And right now, the most important thing is this performance today.
And the Blue Jays.
I'm going to point this out right now, Tim. This is something kind of cool. So a little boy just came down the steps, kicked a trash can over there, and guess who's helping pick up all the popcorn in the trash? Blue Jay senior Luke Clark. Blue Jay juniors Ty Carey and Dane Jacobson are over there trying to help pick up the garbage.
Those are those small things, Brad. When people aren't looking, they always say, right? Small thing. They went over and helped, didn't have to do that. And that just says a little bit about those three kids, to be honest.
2 minutes before game time.
Yeah.
And the kid kind of stumbled, the trash can tipped, and then they stopped to help him. That's pretty cool.
Well, coming into this one, both teams, as you looked into this season, look, Blue Jays were without Cale Jacobson, Evan Shepard, Max Parker, and the Schwartz brothers exit from Fort Calhoun, and I'm sure they had a few other seniors that left, and they're putting it all together. And from a standpoint of the Blue Jays, they've got to feel thrilled. And
so my wife is calling me, and she's about 12 feet away from me.
I know.
So,
I don't know if she
Can I call her on air? Is that appropriate to call her when we're on air?
As long as you keep the microphone mic so we can hear the conversation. She's not looking over here, so I don't
Would somebody
think she has
please tell my wife that I'm right here? She's trying to call me.
Oh, only in small town broadcasting, folks, do you get this. Did you know he was on air? Look, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, listen, when she needs you, Brad. So I'll let you do that, and I'll do the starting lineup.
I'm just solving problems, Tim. Just solving problems. That's what we do around here.
Well, we will not have the national anthem. We did it before the unified game. So we'll give you the starting lineups. First off, for Fort Calhoun, again, they come in here with a mark of 6-4. And the 5'10 senior, Austin Wykirk, averaging 4.9 points a game. He's a tough one. He played a lot last year. And how about this kid, Grayson Bauman, the 6'1 junior, averaging 14.9 a game. Zach Nelson, also a senior, 6 feet 1 inches tall, averaging 3.5 points a game. And of course, Glenn Hunter, averaging just under 5 a game. He's a 5'10 senior. And the big man in the middle, Wyatt Apple, a 6'5 senior, averaging 10 points a game. And he's also ripping down about 4.5 boards a game. Now for your Blue Jays. I believe this will be the 10th game in a row that they've started this lineup. It's Dane Jacobson, the 6'2 junior, averaging 6.5 points a game. He'll be joined in that backcourt by sharpshooter Cade Bridges. He's also a 6-foot senior, averaging 10.5 points a game and 2 steals. Brooks Kissinger, boy, he's really come on offensively at 30 on Monday, now averaging 17 a game, 2.5 assists a game. He's a 6'2 senior. And Cougar Conzum, a 6'3 senior, averaging just under 11 points a game, 5 boards a game. And wrapping up that starting 5, the big man in the middle, we call him the enforcer, Dawson Teese, a 6'2 junior, averaging 1.7 points a game, but 3.9 boards a game. The officials tonight, Ken Marr, Pat Clare, and Ryan Lewis, so a good crew on hand for this one, as Kissinger will go up against Apple. And let's see who wins it. The 6'2 Kissinger got up there, and the Blue Jays control. They'll face man-to-man defense here from the Pioneers. Back cut by Jacobson, but wasn't quite there for Conzum. Defense tough out of the game. Here's Kissinger to attack, looks, kicks it out. Conzum attacking. Kissinger attacks again, and he'll put it in from the left side.
Both Brooks and Cougar, again, probing. Fort Calhoun did help. Both guys, played off at 2 feet, and that allowed them to be successful on that extra pass.
Back the other way come the Pioneers, and will they have a turnover? No.
Almost.
They track it down. Good quick hand by the Blue Jays to get their hand in there. And this is Wykirk. And a reach and a foul on Bridges. And Brad, that's one of the things a lot of people, we think of Bridges as a sharp shooting three-pointer. But, man, he's averaging over 2 steals a game.
Yeah, he's really put a lot of emphasis and effort on the defensive end. He knows his role as a shooter, but he also knows that he's more effective if he can play at both ends. And so really has been a nice addition here for us to have him kind of up his defense a little bit this year. Sign of a mature player, Tim.
That's a very, very good point. As the Blue Jays got a turnover, then turn it over. Jacobson fell down. Here's a 3 for Fort Calhoun. Won't go. Will Wykirk get it? No, Cougar does. Cougar will run, attack from the right side. He's going to go all the way. Got his own miss, and then a rejection
Apple sends it
by
out.
Apple.
Yeah, nice defensive play there. Give Calhoun credit. Had transition there, and Calhoun boys kept playing.
Here's Grayson Bauman. Tries to dump it off. A little out of control that time, but it went off of Bauman. No one touched it. Bauman, from the Blue Jays. No one touched it, so it'll be Blue Jay ball.
Yeah, Bauman maybe tried to do a little too much there with the spin move, and he thought it was tipped, but nobody else agreed with him, I guess, on that one, Tim, so we're going the other way. I couldn't tell from up here.
So the Blue Jays up 2-0. Here's Dane Jacobson. He's going to go in the paint. Look, feeds Dawson Teese, and his shot is blocked, but they're going to say Apple pushed him first. First team foul on Fort Calhoun, and Teese will go to the line to shoot 2. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got something here delivered to the booth.
So now we get a chomp. Is that okay to chomp and chew on air? I'm not sure if that's okay, but we may try.
My goodness.
So, hey, give Dawson Teese credit there as people are handing me food. Apparently, I look like maybe you and I are looking a little bit thin, Tim, and people are worried about our physique. So, but give Dawson credit there for just a slight little shot fake that got Apple up in the air, and then Dawson went strong and got to the line. Unfortunately, didn't make him, but getting a foul on Apple might be a big play by the end of the ball game here.
And Teese had a nice offensive game as well as defensively and hitting the boards against Auburn, but wasn't able to get those free throws. So Bauman can get it up top of the key to Nelson. They feed Apple down on the block. Back to the basket, Brad. What's he going to do? He's going to kick it out.
And Teese had him pushed off about 2 feet off the lane, that's one thing Dawson does well. He doesn't let you get the position you want. He's going to move you out just a little wider. So Kissinger has drawn the assignment of Bauman tonight. That's a handful. Bauman's a really, really tough player to guard. He's what they'd call a 3-level scorer. Shoot mid-range, he can shoot the 3, and he can penetrate and hurt you in, deep.
he dumps it off. Bauman averaging 14.9 a game, their leading scorer. But look at this Blue Jay defense and the faithful giving them a big hand here because they have really shut down the Pioneers. Bauman trying to get free. Kissinger all over
really
him.
Good
he puts
defense.
Up a 3. Yes, it was.
Outstanding.
And there's Bridges on the board.
Good rip. I like to call those rebounds like that. It's a rip by what? Now I forgot who got the rebound. Bridges.
Bridges.
Oh, well. You know, I give Cade credit. He's not faking it like he meant to bank that shot in, Tim, but that was a bank bingo right there. A bank
he caught
bingo.
Me by surprise. I
yes,
wasn't
he
ready
did.
For the bingo.
Well, it didn't look like it was going in. That's why he caught you by surprise.
You're right. As Bauman working hard in the paint, and he's going to be called for 3 seconds. Now, it'll be interesting to see how Grayson reacts here because they've really done a number on him early, but he does not show much frustration there. And Coach T.J. O'Connor is saying—
violation. Yeah, so I think what happened is one referee raised his fist to call a foul, and the other referee under the basket called 3 seconds. And in that case, if there's a simultaneous whistle, a violation usually trumps a foul. Sometimes they can get together, the three of them, and can convince themselves of something different. But this time, the violation stood.
Here's a pass down to Drake Zimmerman, just checked in. Apple with the quick hands and the steals. Blue Jays up 5-0. And here comes Bauman. He's going to go all the way to the rim, puts it up. Good defense again, and there's Teese with it. Bodies, three men
Yeah,
down.
I was going to say 3 bodies under the basket. Kissinger in transition.
Look at him high off the glass. It's 7-0, Big Blue. And a quick timeout by T.J. O'Connor. He wants to talk it over here, Brad, as the Blue Jays get up 7-0.
Yeah, and I think probably what concerns him a little bit is defensively, again, one of the things that man-to-man defense does is it speeds up the offense and it makes people play individually. If you're helping well, the offensive players feel like there's nothing else they can do except drive. And so right now that's what's kind of you're seeing Fort Calhoun try to create everything off the dribble. There's lots of contact, and again, referees just aren't going to bail you out if it's more of a thing where it needs to come to you. That's what our guys have done a good job of. They probe. I use the word probe, and if it's not there, they stop and kick it until somebody gets a clean look. And then transition, we know our guys, tremendous. If that thing gets open, and then Calhoun had 2 of those 3 guys were down under the basket were theirs. You give up transition to us, and we're going to score at a pretty high clip. So.
Well, they come out of the timeout, and they've inserted Jackson Ham now in the lineup, have the Blue Jays, along with Luke Clark. You've got Kissinger, you've got Konzum, and you've got Drake Zimmerman. Fort Calhoun down 7-0. This Blue Jay D has been so tough. Yep. There's a reach-in going to be called by one of the Blue Jays.
Little new wrinkle Blue Jays have added this year is that trap, that first pass trap in their man-to-man. So that time, just to try to disrupt the offensive flow a little bit, come out of a timeout. Calhoun probably had something called. Throw the pass to the wing, and Konzum followed the pass right away to try to double team and disrupt. Unfortunately, we reached and got a little whack on the arm there. So Calhoun takes back possession.
And Adam Elofsson in, a freshman for Fort Calhoun as well, as Weichert struggling against Zimmerman, and there's the freshman in the game, and a quick foul on Luke Clark. So that'll now be, I believe, the 3rd team foul on the Blue Jays and the first on Clark.
Sorry, Tim, I had no color to add at that moment. I was trying to look and see.
You're good. You're absolutely fine.
Checking the names here, 2024.
We got some new ones in as Ashland Bowser also in the game. There's the freshman right there on the wing, and that is going to be Elofsson. They get it down to Apple, who kicks it over to Weichert. Reach in, and a foul on Zimmerman.
So this is one of those moments, too. I think, that's 3 reach calls in the same possession here. And it's not about, feeling bad, all the referees are calling reaches now. Now you just have to, as a player, you got to be reflective enough and quit reaching. They're going to call the foul. You got to quit doing what they've called, keep your hands out, show the hands, keep it clean so you don't get those calls.
And they will inbounds it, but again, the Blue Jays even made that difficult. Bauman working off that right side. Yeah, these officials have been a little bit quicker on the whistle tonight than we've seen in a while. And here's a steal, though. Absolutely they are. And that's just the adjustment you got to make as a player. All referees are different. And sometimes even within the game can be called different. So it's no matter trying to whine about it or worry about it. You just got to make the adjustment. And Cougar Konzum will attack him. Look at Jackson Ham on the offensive board, but another block by Apple. That's his second of the game. Good strong shot. Good putback attempt. Apple really can get up, Tim. I'm going to guess he's going to block a lot of shots this year. He's already blocked or changed several tonight. But look at Jackson Ham, the hammer with the reach back and the steal. And there's Zimmerman who's fouled, and it's now 9-0. Strong, again, playing off 2 feet. Drake went into the contact.
the kid that he hit, knocks him back, and Drake is so strong. I mean, he just stays straight up and down and balanced and knocks that thing in for a 9-0 lead with a chance to make it 10-0.
And it will send Cougar to the bench to get a breather. You got Luke Clark, Jackson Ham, Drake Zimmerman, Brooks Kissinger, Dane Jacobson in the game. And Zimmerman will hit that free throw. So it's 10-0, and Fort Calhoun is saying, what do we have to do to get a bucket here? As Hunter will work off the right side with Clark on him. The freshman Olofsson nearly lost it. Blue Jays diving on the floor as Dayton Jacobson tried to get it. But they were able to get it over to Bowser. Bowser out of control a little bit, and the Blue Jays creating that long outlet here to Zimmer, or make that Kissinger with the left-handed layup.
Good pitch ahead there by Dane off that. Again, right now we're just putting so much pressure on the ball. They're just really harassed and uncomfortable right now. And, even that possession, they ended up getting a shot. But I think we had our hand on the ball about 4 times before they got the shot up. Turned into transition because of it as well.
I mean to tell you, this Blue Jay defense, they just make you work at everything. Every pass, every shot. We saw it Monday against Auburn. We've seen it, frankly, all year.
Yeah.
But this defense seems to just get better every game, Brad.
I think that's absolutely true. So I think, they thought going in and after the summer, coming off their past couple years, of the team that they put on the floor, the starters, but even some of the subs, you've got Dane has guarded the other team's best player. Brooks has guarded the other team's best player. Drake has guarded the other team's best player. So you put 3 guys on the floor that consistently have guarded up on the perimeters for sure, right? And then Cougar and Dawson and Luke, and they've all taken chances. Jackson at guarding the other team's best inside player. So when you have that many guys that are kind of defensive dogs, so to speak, you kind of feel like you're going to be pretty good. Now, we weren't great at the beginning, but I think what you've seen, the progression has been defensively more and more. Every week we get a little bit more disruptive. Okay, and so today, we had that stretch where we had all the reaching fouls. Part of that, you have to take a little bit of that because we want to be close. We want to be disruptive with our hands on the ball. Sometimes, but right now it's creating a lot of havoc for Calhoun.
So the Pioneers will try to get something going here as T.J. O'Connor already burned his second timeout with 2:19 to go in the first quarter. He's trying to get some sort of rhythm. So hard to do as Bauman looks inside to Apple.
That was a nice pass.
Yeah, it was. Apple wasn't quite ready for it and then commits a frustration foul on Bridges.
Yeah, there's no doubt Coach O'Connor is going to keep coaching and fighting. That guy's a competitor, and his kids are going to keep playing and fighting as well. Absolutely. There's no question about that. Just right there, Grayson made a nice jump stop and really got that ball through a tight window. It got tipped, Tim. I mean, and we had 2 guys right there. So even, Apple, it wasn't super clean. But all of a sudden, we get 2 guys on it, get another hand on it, we end up getting the ball back.
And a big foul, too, on Apple. That is his second, so he has to exit. A lot of players in here for Fort Calhoun as Zimmerman will get a screen, works in the paint. There's a wide-open Luke Clark. Bingo!
Great pass by Drake Zimmerman. Got that ball to that elbow area, jump stop, played off, again, strong off 2 feet, found the open man. Sometimes the game isn't as complicated as it needs to be.
15-0.
Great job.
Wow. Blue Jay defense stifling right now. And that is Zach Nelson, who's checked back in the game, the 6'1" senior, just came in off the bench after getting the start. And there is Bauman, who is like, what do I need to do? He's a prolific scorer, but he just can't get on track right now. The Blue Jays make it impossible. Ball fake, moving in is Hunter, kicks it out in the corner. Here comes Nelson, and the Blue Jays now have it.
Get better possession by the Pioneers. Ball moves side to side. They got a nice look at it, just didn't get it to go in.
Jackson Ham with his second offensive board off the bench. Luke Clark in the paint. Ham, boy, when he can come in off the bench, Brad, that is a great weapon to have.
Just make positive plays, right? That's all you're going for, is getting those extra possessions.
Dane Jacobson, the great Dane, with nearly a bucket. Ham with another offensive board. There's a miss at the rim by Zimmerman, but Jackson Ham making his presence felt with 3 offensive boards.
Yeah, both Dane and Drake missed some bunnies there, but give Jackson credit for getting after that. He goes up with 2 hands. He gets 2 hands on it. He's gonna get most of those.
Here comes Weichert. Top of the key, they move it around. We call him the Hammer from his days as a middle linebacker in football. But boy, he brings the physicality to the game of basketball as well. As Weichert, step back, jumper, won't go. Who's gonna get it? Zimmerman.
10 seconds.
And we got a whistle and a foul, as that was Declan Ott, the 6'3 junior, who committed the foul up the court for the 14th foul on the Pioneers. And so now the offensive team here comes in, right? You got Kissinger, you got Teesh, you got Jacobson, Bridges, and Cougar Konzum with 8.5 to go in the quarter.
8.5. Here comes Brooks, probably going to get a high knockoff ball screen by Teesh.
Looking for that open jumper, back to Brooks, deep corner, just off the front of the rim. Good and well defended by Glenn Hunter that time, who got into Kissinger. But, my goodness, hard to quibble with this quarter. Brad, 15-0, the Blue Jays lead, and this surprises me.
Yeah, again, defensively, when you're that disruptive, it really becomes difficult to score. Fort Calhoun, there's no way they can simulate the length and the physicality that Ashland brings defensively. You just can't, right? So it's going to take a little while, and they get a couple baskets, get themselves settled down. Get that lead down to 10 points or single digits. They're going to keep fighting, and they play good enough defense. Their scores would indicate that throughout the year. Like, they're not just going to lay down and fold for sure. So. And
you said it with T.J. O'Connor at the helm. That just doesn't happen. Elliot, you played some basketball in your day. What's it like to play in your mind against a defense like the Blue Jays?
I mean, right now the Blue Jays, it looks like they're playing a zone because Fort Calhoun cannot penetrate and get into the paint easily. It's especially impressive because the Blue Jays are running a man, and since they're always up in Fort Calhoun's face, right, and there's always someone or one or two people coming over to help and just blocking off any of the driving lines.
That's exactly right, Elliot. I mean, that's what any good defense ends up looking pretty much the same, right? Pressure on the ball and help load it up so there's no room to go and passes are contested. So Elliot's exactly right. A good man-to-man looks like a zone when you really settle down to it. So
here's a 3-ball put up quickly here by Fort Calhoun to start this second quarter, but off the mark. Bauman, though, will attack the rim, and I think the Blue Jays got part of that. Look at this outlet pass from the quarterback, Jacobson, and he hits Bridges in stride. It's 17-0.
Dane's up. He just really has a gift to have his eyes up the floor. That was about a 60-foot pass, Tim. Really, really good awareness of where his teammates are at and put that thing on a dime.
Well, he's a quarterback.
There's Bridges again.
By Bridges feeds Jacobson. He returns the favor, and Jacobson's fouled on the way to the rim. So they're helping each other. First Jacobson to Bridges, there Bridges to Jacobson, and Dane will go to the line to shoot a couple of free throws.
Yep, Dane went strong that time. Usually when you get your body offensively on the shoulder, one shoulder or the other of the defensive player trying to take a charge, you're going to get a block out of it, and that's been pretty consistent. I would say high school referees get that right more often than the college guys do. And however, I got to give the college guys, that's hard for them because they got to deal with that new flop expectation too, and that has made their job probably even exponentially more difficult.
Well, Kissinger, make that Jacobson, sorry. He is 1 of 2 now. I know you know him well, but he came in as shooting a blistering 88% from the line, so a rare miss by Dane, but it's 18-0. And here comes Weichert from the block, tipped around, and there's Kissinger on the board.
That Dane might not get supper tonight, Tim, unless I take that cold pizza home. He missed a free throw, so
if Elliot leaves us any,
his mom might not give him any supper tonight. So
1 of 2 from the line is Dawson Teese. Will hand the ball off to Cougar. Blue Jays so efficient with their passing, and look at Kissinger on the spin.
Nice move by Brooks. Again, a good example. Jump stops. He did have a spin move there, but because he's still balanced, it's still a really good, strong play.
So back the other way they come. Weichert gets it up top of the key. And they're working off that right side. Fort Calhoun now 20-0. Blue Jays have gone nearly 10 minutes in this basketball game without allowing Fort Calhoun to score. And there's another steal. No. It'll go off the hands of Kissinger, who was just like a cobra there. He struck. He saw that pass coming.
What's your dunk call this year, Tim? Have we heard that? What's your dunk? What's the call going to be if you think there's going to be a dunk?
Oh, it's got to be rim rattler.
Rim rattler?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Were we on?
I don't know if I was waiting for you to say something. Oh, is he going to rattle the rim or something like that? I didn't know where you were going. So,
well, I know why you thought that, because if Brooks gets that pass,
that's a rim rattler.
Oh, no doubt.
That's my point. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just trying to help you out so you're ready for the moment, Tim. I want you to be ready for the moment.
Yeah, give me prep. So, and let me tell you, I will say this, Brad, and by the way, timeout in the court, 20-0. We saw a lot of rim rattlers last year with Cale Jacobson and Max Parker. They just made a habit of it. Not as many this year, but they can do it. We got several guys that can.
Yeah. No, I think so. I know, for sure Brooks, we've already mentioned that. Cougar can. Dane can.
Yep.
I think Dawson can. I'm not sure I've physically seen Dawson do it, but I'm pretty sure Dawson can do
I've
it as
heard
well.
that
Now,
he
some
can.
of them may need to be able to travel. I'm not really sure about that, but Brooks doesn't need to travel. I know he can get up and do it.
Yeah. Boy, well, this Blue Jay squad right now, there's no need for any kind of a dunk because they're up 20-0. And, again, Coach O'Connor, he's going to raise his decibel level a little bit with his team in that huddle. You might have picked him up with the crowd mic, but no doubt he's challenging his squad right now. He knows that while this Blue Jay defense is great, he also knows he can probably get a little more out of his team.
Yeah, he wants his guys to compete. Again, the last two possessions have been turnovers and runouts, and so you start giving up layups, and then Brooks almost got another one there. That would have been 3 straight, and they got some decent shots to end the first quarter. That's what he wants to see. He just wants them to see to manage it and handle the basketball and get some good looks.
And the freshman with a turnover there, and then he commits a foul. That's Adam Milofsson, the 6-foot freshman who tripped up Drake from behind. And that is the 6th team foul now on the Pioneers. And
Drake got such a good balance, Tim. He got tripped and he still didn't fall. I mean, it wasn't intentional. I'm not saying that.
Right.
He gets their feet got tangled, and Drake still doesn't go down to the floor. He's got such a good balance.
And Brad, I don't know if you and I talked about this or if it was Jason and I during the holiday tournament, but up to 197 now is Zimmerman. He's working really hard on the weights, but man, where's he putting it, right?
I'd like to get down to 197 again, Tim.
I'm working towards it too.
Nice play, Dawson.
Dawson
Yep.
with a beautiful move.
It really was. So that's what you call, Tim. So you saw, Brooks again drove into the paint, landed on 2 feet, and you saw Dawson kind of with a late cut. That's what we would call a secondary cut. So it's not a straight back cut when the ball's live. It's when the ball has stopped and picked up in the paint. Dawson cuts behind his man. He gets open, makes a nice move to the rim, just didn't get it to go. But well timed, well executed.
Good feed to Apple, and boy, they just can't get one to fall. And here comes Kissinger. He is sprinting up the court quickly, tries to jump into the paint. They do a good job defending him. And now there's Teese. Blue Jays with that quick ball movement, Brad. They can make 8 passes before you blink an eye. And here comes Kissinger. Pull-up jumper in the paint to make it 22-0.
Yep, ball changed sides of the floor 3 times in that possession in about 22 seconds, Tim. So, I mean, that's so hard to guard when you move it. And then Brooks, the last one was because of his dribble penetration, changed side of the floor a little bit. So another tipped pass goes off of Calhoun.
Yeah, Asher Bowser not able to handle that tip pass, went off his left hand. So there goes Teese, Conzum, and Jacobson out of the game. And Coach O'Connor, he's inserted a couple of youngsters. Travis Skelton, the 5'8" sophomore, who might not enter this early, but I think he's just trying to get something going.
There does come a time. Just try to give your kids an experience too. So the other factor is Coach O'Connor's. There is a conference tournament later in the year, right? And if he would get another shot at us, he wants to get as many people a look at what it's like to play against a team like this. And I think that's the value of playing competition. You can duck competition. You can build a schedule all you want and avoid playing anybody any good. But at some point, you're going to have to play good teams, and that's what's going to make you better. Iron sharpens iron, right? So
that's right.
I think that's, he's going to – and there's a strong move there by Apple. That's what you like. That's what he wants to see. That ball moved side to side. They didn't disrupt us that time. Apple was strong, went into the contact, and finished.
Excellent bucket by Apple. And look at Zimmerman. He went to the rim, but a great block from behind. I think that was on Bauman. And they're running. Here's Skelton, who played a really good game in the JV. And Zimmerman, thankfully, took a bad step, but he's okay. Bauman will work off that right rim. And, folks, Kissinger had an absolutely magical move earlier. He got Apple in the air with a fake with his left hand with the ball, and then he put it in. And here's Skelton with a 3 that's short. And the Blue Jays up 22 and running.
Yep, in transition again, Brooks keeps that rim pressure on. Hammer time.
Oh, I like it, Brad.
See
Hammer
that?
time.
Same type of a deal, secondary cut. You see our post player will always kind of loop under the basket to the kind of opposite where the ball's going. Brooks is driving left, and you saw Ham there when Brooks picked it up. Just slipped to the other side of the rim. Got that reverse layup. Nice job by Hammer.
Apple continuing to work. Ham commits the foul. But, hey, give Apple credit. He has gone 110%. from the opening tip, and he is working hard down on the block.
Yeah, he's a load, 6'5", solid, well put together kid. Yeah, definitely a challenge to guard, and athletic. I mean, he gets off the ground pretty well too, so he's a handful.
And he's shooting just 32% from free throw line. But here's one thing you got to know about White Apple. He can shoot. He's shooting 71% from the field. And there he goes. He hits that free throw. So the kid can really shoot. He'll warm up from the line, and the Blue Jays up 21. Jacobson, great look to Jackson Ham. He can't finish with that left hand, and the rebound coming down to Hunter.
Yeah, nice pass there by Dane. Ball just kind of rolled over the top of the rim, but another transition opportunity for the Blue Jays.
Jacobson averaging a lot in the assist category, as he's averaging 3.7 assists a game. Almost got one there. And here we go at the top of the key. There's a step back. Bowman had a shot blocked by Cougar Conzum. I think the Blue Jays need to grab it.
Oh, dear.
Oh. Coach T.J. O'Connor is arguing. He's saying that ball was blocked. And Brad, I think, now they're going to change it. Ken Marr, good official.
Yeah. Ken's under the basket. He can't tell if it's tipped from where he's at down there. But Lewis, what's Lewis's first name?
Ryan.
Ryan, yep. He called tip right away. He assumed that Ken saw it, started walking the other way. So they were kind of all on the same page, but in the different book maybe, I think is what was there. But they got it right. The ball should have went to Calhoun, and it did.
So now the Pioneers have it, down 21. Bauman trying to make something happen. He's down on the block and double teamed, and Dawson T steps in front of his pass.
Good rotation by the Blue Jays defensively. Here we are in transition again.
They feed Teese. Teese kicks it out. Luke Clark's going to attack. Bounce pass underneath to Teese, which is a patented move for the Blue Jays.
Nice work there. Again, that's very, very similar look, isn't it? That cut under the basket like that and the finish on the opposite side of the rim. And that's not something that, coaches don't call that. That's just when you learn how to play the game. That's part of drill and teaching from our coaching staff. You got to give those guys some credit, and the players for then executing it at the right time.
Apple with a beautiful offensive board.
Oh,
here's
Bridges.
a shot, a bucket, and a foul. And at the line will go Glenn Hunter.
Yeah, Bridges just basically landed on top of him on that one. So he tried to contest the shot, and just the angle wasn't good and landed right on top of the shooter. So that's a foul.
Yep. Cade will exit after that foul. It's 28-8. And at the line is going to be Glenn Hunter, who's shooting 75% from the charity stripe. Rolls around, won't go, and there's Teese on the board. Blue Jays in command here late second quarter. I believe we're going to have Reese Hogue up here at halftime to talk about that Blue Jay victory on the girls' side earlier today, which was very impressive. And here's a steal by Bowser. He's going to challenge Clark, and Clark's got to commit the foul to prevent that bucket from going in. So Bowser at the line.
Reese Hogue, the pride of Fall City, Nebraska. He's another one of our Fall City guys.
Right.
I think there might be some Hogue family members listening down in Fall City this afternoon.
Don might be listening down there, huh?
He's kind of he probably ought to do a sponsorship at this point, don't you think, Tim? Maybe
how much could we get out of
it? An NIL deal for the color commentator or something like that. Donnie, if you're listening, you know how to get a hold of me.
You better cut me in on this.
Well, I'll share. I'll give you a percentage.
We did get some pizza tonight. By the way, came from Calvin's Legacy, which is a wonderful organization here in Ashland. They help with so many good causes.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Town.
And I saw Brett and Jody here today, and again, and I think Dina was also here today. The whole family, and they have a great board. Really, just all those people come out and support that organization and support our kids at Ashland-Greenwood.
We have a foul now away from the basketball. Let's see who they whistle this on, as Kissinger will go to the line to shoot a 1-and-1. And they're going to give the second foul to Glenn Hunter. So Kissinger, 6 in the second quarter, 6 in the first, 12-point on the night. Scored 30 on Monday. Here's his free throw. It's up and good.
I already got a response from Fall City Public Schools. There is no NIL money in their budget for me, so I guess I'm out this year. So.
Oh, boy, the second free throw. Well, we got to work on that. So here comes Bauman down on the block. He's doubled.
Great job, Brooks. And Cougar was there, too, hedging on that help. They're really loading up that help, just making it really difficult for Grayson right now.
There goes Bowser in the paint. There's a steal by the great Dane. And he will pick up his dribble at the top of the key and finds Cougar for a three. No. And look at Zimmerman Sky to keep it alive. Can the Blue Jays track it down? Dane does his best, but knocks it out of bounds. It'll be Pioneer ball.
That might have been our first bingo. We haven't had a bingo this half.
I know.
No bingos.
No bingos in the second. We had two in the first
two
quarter.
In the first.
Yeah,
Okay.
Luke Clark got that one.
Oh, that's right.
But Cade's caught me off guard. Remember, he banked it in.
He did bank it. Yeah, we did. That was a bank bingo.
That's right.
Bank bingo.
You know that Bob Fricky and Rod Risen, who run the banks here in town, would have loved that. Although they don't want to be open at this
another
time
steal.
of night.
Yeah,
and
another
here
steal.
we go. Reach in, and the Blue Jay defense stifling. I cannot come up with enough adjectives to describe this defense. Stifling and just, they are terrorizing right now this Fort Calhoun offense. They're amazing.
Disruptive. I think there's just nothing as easy, and I think that's one of the things I used to always look for with my teams. You know, if the ball is allowed to move and be passed easily, you're going to have a hard time guarding. If the guys that catch it have to move the ball and pivot and do all the things to try to make that extra pass, that's disruptive, and that's what makes it easier to guard because it gives you more time, and it makes it really hard to run offense.
So Blue Jays now up 31-10. And Fort Calhoun going to work Bauman. Step back, and I should really say fade away.
Yeah.
And Bauman got the bucket to go.
Defended well. That's just a good offensive play.
You get a sense that Bauman is really realizing he's just going to have to create some shots. That time a fadeaway. Here comes Kissinger in the paint off the front of the rim. Teese with the putback, partially blocked in there. He's battling inside with Declan Ott. And we got a tie-up. It will be Blue Jay ball with 2.9 to go here in the half.
Brooks really leaned in, tried to get that body contact, was hoping for the three-point play. Maybe even got too much body contact, and that time he didn't get the call go his way, but Dawson did a nice job of going to get the basketball.
Here's the inbounds. Zimmerman's going to have to
Step
put
back.
it up. That one will not go. What a half of basketball here defensively for the Big Blue. They lead 31-12. They did give up 10 second quarter points, and after just giving up 2 in the first quarter, they're probably going in not feeling great, but man alive, have they been tough defensively.
Yeah, I think one of the things, we probably missed a few more shots at the paint that quarter too, and now you're nitpicking a little bit because we got a lot of shots at the paint or right at the basket. Sometimes that's what's hard, is to keep that. Usually when you start missing layups in easy baskets, it's because you're focused. You're starting to lose your focus a little bit. What I do like to see, though, again, we've made the right cuts. We're getting the offensive rebounds. Those are good signs that we're still making the right plays.
Well, listen, I don't know if he's listening.
Oh, you got one right there.
Oh, there we go. And we'll let Reese listen to this. I don't know if he's listening. I know he's back home recovering, but Ryan Thompson just sent us a text, and I just want to let him know we all love him. I mean, the whole community loves him, and he's getting better every day. And I've been thinking a lot about him, but I know I'm not the only one. This whole community's been thinking about him. As much as he's put into this community and the school and the kids, we're all thinking about him. So great to see him at home, and I know you probably want to give him a shout out as well.
Yeah, rest up, man. Get healthy.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I know that's what you're doing, and I know that you probably live with somebody that's not going to let you do anything different other than to follow those doctor's orders. So I know you'll do a good job and get back.
That's right. Amy will keep him on the straight and narrow. Well, listen, we've got to celebrate a victory here today. Reese Hogue is joining us, the assistant coach for the Ashland-Greenwood Blue Jays girls basketball team. And listen, an impressive win today, Coach. What really stood out to me to start the game, you guys came in averaging 36 a game.
Yeah.
At halftime, you had 29 on the board. You hit 54, so tell me a little bit about that offensive performance today.
Well, I mean, it definitely helps when you can actually put the ball in the hoop. We really struggled the last couple games just trying to put the ball in the hoop and finding ways to score. But I think just overall, our girls are still competing. We've been banged up here and there. I mean, we kind of feel like a mash unit, and it's not the same mash that my dad grew me up on with Hawkeye and Radar. But I mean, it's a type of game, that we just have to kind of keep pushing and kind of push against that pressure. And our girls competed. We got great minutes from Marley Glock off the bench. Emma Keith came back from getting a busted shin against Auburn, and just really proud of how they moved the ball and finally got the ball to go to the hoop a couple times. So
I know Brad's got some questions for you as well. And by the way, since you mentioned your father, Brad already got him to respond with a text message, so he's listening home. But
Oh,
at least
boy.
he had you watching quality TV, which is good.
Yeah, that was going to be my first question. Is he really made you watch MASH?
He did, yeah.
Wow.
So, fun fact, my first kind of like Christmas gift for him was a collector edition of like a box set of MASH. So, yeah.
I like that we're outing your dad on national TV, with the national TV audience here. This is outstanding.
For sure it's national.
Sorry,
it's even
Dad.
international.
For sure
yeah.
national.
Sorry.
Thousands upon thousands. I was impressed today, Coach, with talk a little bit about your defense. I thought, there was a long scoring drought for Fort Calhoun, but a lot of it very disruptive. The girls are very disruptive with their defense. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we we really preach, like how can we be aggressive on the perimeter with those guards? Especially like those guards, they started three or four freshmen, and just kind of pressuring on the perimeter, kind of making them handle it under like intense pressure on. And I think more importantly, I think if we can pick up full court and make them work baseline to baseline, sideline to sideline with some sense of like going offhand, and like Pike did a great job. So did Bree Sheptor inside, kind of keeping the ball out of 23 bench's hands. Who's the best player? We really made big jumps from last year. Our girls came from a very like basic knowledge of man to man, and now they're like. I mean, it showed in the Archbishop Bergen game with them being aggressive and kind of holding a high-octane offense like Archbishop Bergen had over the holiday tournament. And they're just starting to grow and understand the game more. And when you can anticipate the game more and you know what you think the offense is going to run, you'll be all right. I mean, like the boys have like locked down just phenomenal D, and it's just fun watching that. It's fun watching good defense.
Yep, I agree.
You mentioned at the start of this, you got a nice performance off the bench from Marley Glock.
Yep.
By the way, she gave you 9 today.
Yeah, it's nice.
And, you also got some really good performance off the bench, and you've been getting all year from Emma Keith. But with the injuries you guys have had, this is what you're looking for, isn't it?
It is. Like we want to build depth. We want to build confidence. I think that's the biggest thing for girls that are coming in that don't know or haven't played a lot of varsity time is just confidence. You have to believe in your game, believe in the defense, believe in your teammates, and if we can have that confidence from our girls, especially off the bench, I mean, it's just only beneficial. And it stinks that Presley Harms and Jenna Grell, 2 awesome seniors, 2 senior leaders, aren't playing with us. But it just shows like this team that we have right now is going to be next year's team. And we just got to find ways, little by little, small percentage at a time, to kind of grow and get better. So,
Brad, any other thoughts here for him?
I got nothing.
Yeah,
I got nothing. I got nothing, Ken.
How often do you hear that? How often do you hear that?
I got nothing.
Hey,
Yeah.
that sometimes silence is deafening, so I'm not quite sure. I think I'll sit on that.
Well, listen, great win tonight.
Thank you.
And you also did, as Brad mentioned this, a wonderful job on Bria Bench. Came in averaging 13. You held her to 3.
Yep.
Phenomenal job. So enjoy this win tonight with your
Absolutely.
players, and we'll see you soon.
Appreciate it, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you.
you bet.
Thank you.
Tim, it's hard to ask questions with minutes and minutes of preparation that I put in for this today. So
You've been a busy man here with Unified Game, and also a guy that's always busy is Mark Adell, and he's been racking the numbers. Mark, what do they look like?
Good. We've dominated in just about every category, as you might guess. I mean, when I got late in the second half and I hadn't scored yet, it wasn't quite that way for them. I would go with a basket hanger just to get on the board. Anyway, we haven't shot the ball quite as well as we normally do, but still, 12 for 26, 46%. Brooks Kissinger is 6 for 8 from the field. We are 2 of 6 from 3, 33%. 4 of 6 from the line, 67%. Fort Calhoun has not shot the ball well at all. 4 of 18 for 22% from the field. 1 of 6 from 3, 17%. They are 3 of 4 from the line, 5%. We've dominated the glass 15-9. We've had 6 offensive rebounds. They got to keep that 5'10" Jackson Ham off the offensive boards. He's got 3.
the hammer.
Hammer.
They've got 3 offensive rebounds as a team. We've turned them over 12 times. We've turned it over ourselves just 4.
Thank you, Mark. So, Brad, the Blue Jays forced 12 turnovers in that half, and honestly, that's not a surprise with the way they played D.
No, again, sometimes you look at that. Turnovers can happen in one of 2 ways, and not all turnovers are steals, but all steals are turnovers. And I would bet the majority of those today were steals because there was it created a lot of runouts for us as well.
And Brad, you mentioned that, and I want to get Elliot's thought as well, but I'm trying to find the steal number. Coming into the last game I broadcast, I think the Blue Jays are averaging nearly 12 steals a game. That's a pretty
that's huge.
number.
That's an enormous number. I mean, you get, even as individuals, you get any kid that gets close to 2. I mean, it truly is a rare thing. I mean, you see, because like a lot of times people will think a steal, literally it's when possession is changed and you did it. And so oftentimes I could tip it, maybe you get the ball, but true steals don't happen very often. And but that just is another sign of, again, disruptive defense is going to create more of those. And if we're getting 12 steals a game and getting into transition on probably at least, you're going to guess 8 of those at least, that's going to spell trouble for the opponent most of the time.
Well, Elliot, let's talk a little bit about this second half and preview it a little bit. If you're Fort Calhoun, Coach O'Connor, he's in there working hard, and Coach Mose, he doesn't want to let anyone in the game. So preview this second half for us.
I think for Fort Calhoun, might just need to give the Blue Jays a couple new looks. Maybe come out in a zone, or because we haven't shot the 3 very well or very much today, maybe put on a press, just speed us up, and just give us a couple new looks. And then for offensive side for Fort Calhoun, I mean, just got to get something, really anything going. Just try and get a little bit of momentum, get a couple of get in transition, trying to get a couple baskets and get some momentum on their side.
Well, let's see how this goes as the Blue Jays now trot out Dane Jacobson, Brooks Kissinger, Cade Bridges, Cougar Conzum, and Dawson Teese, the way they started the game. And TJ O'Connor, he's taking his time. He's having some last-minute instructions. We'll see who he brings out. As Coach Mo stands up on the sideline, he'll coach all the way to the end as well. And he's over there having a conversation with his assistant coaches as well.
Yeah, Elliot, that's good thoughts. I think I think back to those games a year ago. Fort Calhoun certainly played some man-to-man, but and their team was built differently with the twins and those kind of things. So they did play a little bit more zone, and there were a couple games that zone did kind of get to us a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if they might just give a different look now and then, just to try to get us a little bit out of our rhythm to try to get themselves back in the game. Here we are offensively with a little bit of a different look. Looks like they're trying to post up Bauman. Here's that same, I think at the Bergen game we talk about, that's one of Coach McGill's plays right there from Midland back in the days.
Good feed to Apple again. It looked like they had something cooking, but actually I should say the feed was really right at his shoestrings. Apple having a hard time pulling it in, and the tie-up will mean it's Blue Jay basketball.
Back in the old days, Tim, we called that Arizona in my days at Midland. So that action is a very common play. It's kind of a flex cut, screen-the-screener action. It's really a good set.
You got to wonder, Coach O'Connor. Here's a 3 on the way. Bingo! Right away here for Cade Bridges.
Tim was ready for that one.
Oh,
he was ready for that one.
That's right. It was a quick one. And Brad, we mentioned posting up Bauman as he's going to go hard to the rim and a whistle and a foul. They're doing that from your perspective to just try to get him more touches and get him more involved in the game and a different look to the Blue Jay defense here?
As far as when he posted up there. Yeah, I mean, I think, you try to rub, and at that time, when you rub off Apple, you try to get a team to hedge a little bit, and that creates maybe some space for Grayson to get the ball. Or maybe you get a switch even occasionally. Our guys will switch a lot of positions. They don't necessarily switch every position, and a lot of it is scout-based. So, they may not, like Dane and Brooks may switch it with each other to guard Bauman, but we may not switch Cougar or Dawson onto Bauman full-time either. So I think there's always some rules in the scouting report as far as what it is that they're trying to get done.
And by the way, there was some confusion on who that foul was on. I believe they called it on Brooks. They did. That's his first. The score clock, I think, or the scorebook had credited someone else.
I think they put it up there on Bridges, and I don't know if it's because Bauman's number 4 and he was the one shooting free throws. I'm not sure. But anyway, they got it right.
And it's
got
now
it corrected.
34-14. As Bauman had a couple of free throws, and here we go. Dawson Teese getting in the paint. There's that bounce pass down on the block against Apple, and Cougar does a good job using his body.
Used his body, got his shoulders parallel to the backboard too, which then puts the defender and the ball in his left hand protected from the defender, which is Apple, who can block shots. A really nice strong play move by Cougar. Nice little pass by Teese there as well.
Here's Wykirk for a three. That will not go. Make that Bauman. He put that up. And Dane Jacobson running quick. Pulls up in
Nice
the
shot.
paint. Shoots over Apple. It's 38-14.
That time looked at that little drop off, and the post player dropped back and gave Dane an open look. So, but by the way, was it Wykirk that made the three against Wahoo in the state tournament? The big one. Do you remember?
I
should
believe
remember
it
that.
was.
I think that's who it was.
Yes, it was. That's right.
Well, that's
Now that you say that, I remember
one of the
that.
biggest shots I've witnessed in the state tournament. We saw another one a couple days later than that, but that was huge.
And they've got him listed at 5'10", but I think he's probably more 5'8".
I thought it was him.
And I believe it was him too, Brad. I was there and watched it, and I know you were too.
I remember that.
Big
I
moment.
remember being so impressed. The Fort Calhoun fans stood the entire game, and they cheered, and they cheered, and they cheered. And even when they were behind and they came back, their fans stood the entire – they didn't sit down at halftime, Tim. The team left at halftime, and those fans, they stood and cheered and sang and danced, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
You know what? And it's funny that you say that because I do remember. The town of Fort Calhoun, it just got behind that program.
Oh, boy, did
last
they
year
ever.
For good reason. And, boy, what a special Cinderella season they had. And here comes Wykirk. That time can't repeat that three-pointer against Wahoo.
Same spot, right wing.
Blue Jays running. There's Kissinger with a beautiful spin, looking to give it to Teese, and Teese is ready for it. He'll knock it home from the left side.
Plays balanced and is able to find draws two guys, draws two defenders, rips that thing across. Just a nice pass off to Teese.
Interestingly enough, though, as it's 40-14 in this game, here comes a three on its way, and it won't go. I was going to let Brad have that call. Three on the way.
Three on the way.
And then how'd he finish it if he hit it?
Nothing but nylon.
And that was who again?
That was the when Dana Altman got hired as the coach at Creighton, the play-by-play guy for the Creighton Blue Jays was a guy named T. Scott Marr, and I think he's not in the business anymore as an announcer. But that was his three-point call, was three on the way, nothing but nylon. And this is the day when, again, everything wasn't streamed and you couldn't, you had to listen to the radio most of the time. That's 25 years ago.
Well, I know. I love the calls at Pavelka, and, of course, Brimser in football, who was just so magical with his calls. And here, look at Teese work underneath.
Nice.
He's getting more and more confidence offensively, isn't he?
Great pass by Drake, too. Just there's that little drop pocket pass there, and Dawson with a really strong move, using, going to the other side of the rim, finishing that strong.
Bridges steps
with the
in front of that
rotation,
pass, and knocks it out of bounds. Here comes Luke Clark and the hammer, Jackson Ham. Out will go Bridges and Kissinger.
Like what I've seen to start out here. So, again, we talked about focus and attention to detail. And look, just a little over 3 minutes in, and we're tipping the ball, we're stealing the ball, we're getting the ball right at the rim, and we're finishing again, Tim, right? That shows a real focus by the Blue Jays.
Apple continues to work hard. He got that bucket. And to Brad's point, the Blue Jays have already scored 11 points. We have not played half the quarter yet. And so they have come out sharp and answered the bell to start this third. Teese with his first three on the way of the year won't go.
Well, Teese made one down at Auburn, right?
That's right. He
Yep,
was one
he made
of
one
four
at
on
Auburn,
the year.
and
I
I took full credit because I taped his ankle, so he'll probably give me the blame for missing that one because I taped it again today. So
I'm thinking of Jackson Hammer, but on the other side is Asher Bowser. Hammer has not attempted a three. Teese is now 1 of 5 on the year from three-point land as Dane Jacobson will knock that ball out of bounds.
Yeah, tried the secondary cut there, and they got a tip on it. They got a tip on Teese's pass there. Dane tried to save it, knock it back out, but we had a chance, and it just weren't able to run it down. So
the enforcer checks out there, Dawson Teese. In comes Drake Zimmerman with 3:50 to go here, third quarter. Blue Jays coasting along here against the NCC rival Fort Calhoun. And here's a steal by Cougar.
Great play by Cougs.
He's going to attack that rim, and does he get the bucket? He does. He showed him the basketball, got the defender in the air, and then finished with the foul. And that's what Kissinger did earlier. He showed him the basketball, defender went up, and it's now 44-19.
I thought he might be looking like he was going to fake and step through, and then maybe he lost it. So, I don't know, Tim. We'll give Cougar the credit that he showed the ball.
Okay.
It may have slipped out of his left hand on the fake. I'm not real sure there. But anyway, I like him. Again, all started with give Cougar credit. Great defensive play with the denial, and he finishes the play and gets the three-point play by making the free throw. Nice job, Cougs, coming in off the bench.
And look at Jackson Hammer battling there. So tough, so physical. As Zimmerman's going to find a wide
Great
open Clark
pass,
in the corner.
Drake.
That's going to be short, but Luke Clark is knocked to the ground.
Yep, got fouled.
By Glenn Hunter, and that is his 4th on Glenn Hunter.
Yep, that was awful short. I didn't see the foul right away, and I looked over and saw Luke was in a pile, so I knew he must have got hit. So
he went down in the left corner, and now he'll get a chance to shoot 3. By the way, he went down right in front of Officer Brady. Did you see him shoot his free throw there at halftime?
I did not.
Yeah.
Was it money?
He went 0 for 2. His first was an air ball. His second almost got it. He's a lefty, Brad. A little Kel Jacobson. Here's the second one. Good. But here's what's interesting about Officer Brady. I don't know if you know, he played with Scott Shepard.
Lincoln Christian Crusader.
Scott Shepard was his coach, right? When they
well, I think probably Wes, Grandpa.
Yes, and Scott was
The
on
late
the
Wes.
bench when they beat
Okay,
Grant
probably
that
was,
year in
yeah.
that championship game in the last-second shot. And Clark will hit 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I don't know if Kale's back. Could they making their trip back? The Huskers got a big road dub today, conference road win at Minnesota. You mentioned the 7-footer from Shadron in the semis, Elliot Eliason from Shadron. He only blocked 10 shots against us in the state semifinals in 2007, but Elliot went on to have a nice career at Minnesota as a Big Ten player. So,
how'd you like that draw when you're coaching your Blue Jays to the semifinals? Beat
Yeah,
Wahoo
you know,
in the first round, and then ball's loose in the backcourt. Blue Jays track it down. Then you got to go up against the 7-footer.
and they were, it was kind of fun. They were, the two of us were the 6 and 7 seed, so we had knocked off the 2 and the 3. And, so it was kind of a matter of, we both played out of our minds the first game, and then neither one of us played great in the second game. They just happened to outlast us and play a little bit better.
Well, that
Good
was
memories, though.
Oh, great run for the Blue Jays.
One of those
that
team
first
members
game.
right in front of me, Ryan Silman, sitting right in front of me today. So got some memories of that ball game.
You love what he's doing. Here comes Fort Calhoun the other way. Yeah, you won that first game in old Pershing Auditorium. Here's a pull-up jumper that won't fall. And Ham gets the board.
Who'd we beat in that first game, Tim?
Yeah,
Who'd
I
we
think
beat in that
it might have been the Warriors.
Yeah.
You played them, 3 times that year?
That was the 3rd time, yep.
Yeah. Jacobson, he's waiting for it. The Great Dane on its way. Won't get it. And Fort Calhoun gets the board. But there's Ham again making everything matter, right?
Yep.
He works hard. And a miss by Fort Calhoun with 1:42 to go. The Blue Jays up 47-19. Yeah, you had some nice players, didn't you? You had Silman. You had Sapp.
Yeah, that team was fun. Brian Romans. Brian York. Landon Westling.
Those are some really
Mark
good
Powell,
players.
Josh
That's
Kingston.
right. And here's someone attacking the rim, and it's knocked out of bounds. That was Zach Nelson. He tried to get to the rim. 47-19 as Jacobson Zimmerman will check out. And it will be Bauman to take it out underneath his own rim. He's being patient, has to get it up top. That's the other thing the Blue Jays on those inbounds you don't see very often. Someone get a cut and an easy bucket on their inbounds.
Yep, they spend quite a bit of time, and at the same time we're pretty successful running out of bounds plays and scoring. I heard a statistic many years ago. NCAA keeps scoring. There's all with analytics. This is back in the days before analytics was actually analytics, but NCAA kept this. And one of the easiest ways to score in basketball is actually a baseline out of bounds play, and it's equally like as far as in parts of the game, like a transition advantage. So a 3-on-2, for example, you're going to score at a pretty high clip. Baseline out of bounds plays are equal to a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 as far as the ability to score. It's a hard thing to defend, and unfortunately, a lot of teams and coaches don't spend enough time with it because it's really, really an important part of the game. And I give our guys credit; they just spend a lot of time defensively and offensively to gain an advantage there.
Well, Cougar Consom knocks one home from 3 land, and Brad, interesting with Cougar. He's now got 8 points. They've all come in the third quarter. He was held scoreless in the first half, which also makes you feel good if you're Coach Mose.
Yeah.
You score 31 and your second leading scorer doesn't have a point at halftime.
And he's played so solid. I mean, like he just every play he's made so far has been a good one. He just has, and that's what you like to see.
An incredibly bright kid. Very good academically, and here they get it down to Apple. We got a tie-up and a jump ball, 50-19, the Blue Jays leading. They have, as you heard Brad say, big matchup coming on Tuesday. They'll go to number 3 ranked Platteview, I believe it is, in Class B, depending on which poll you look at. And that'll be a biggie. There probably won't be a seat to be had that night.
Yeah, I think did he try to throw it off for the back, or did that just get tipped? Yeah.
Clark is going to put up a 3 with 3 seconds to go. Won't go. Bridges will have time, and at the buzzer.
Got it.
Oh, my.
That's a bingo.
That is a
bingo.
wasn't it?
You know, Kent Pavelka's added a new one to his. He's Bangarang is
I
a new
heard
one.
that.
Yeah, he had Sam Griesel had a big Bangarang today to get Nebraska tied at 61 late in that game at Minnesota. So
Well, you got to love the old Bangarang, and you got to love Kent Pavelka. But Elliott, 53-19. Give me your impressions of this Blue Jay squad who came out. They were not flat at all in that third quarter.
Absolutely not. You definitely could have seen them getting a little flat because they had. I'm not sure what their lead was going into half. You got that.
Yes, say that again now. Give me.
Their halftime score.
Yes, it was 31-12. Blue Jays.
Yeah, it's definitely a lead that going to halftime, you just and everyone just kind of gets flat. You just think, you know what? We're probably going to just roll over. Fort Calhoun's probably just going to let us roll them. But Fort Calhoun's stuck it out and kept playing hard, and Blue Jays have matched it or exceeded their effort.
exactly.
Yeah, I'll let you take that bracket.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Elliot. Again, Fort Calhoun's still competing, and they're still fighting, and they're trying to knock down shots, and our guys kept that at same intensity and just made more plays. And so, 20, what'd you say, 31-12? Is that the halftime score?
31-12 and a half, yep.
Yeah, 22 points is a lot of points in a quarter. I don't care who you're playing. I mean, that's really efficient. So
The Blue Jays, just had a big third. Now it's 53-19 to start this fourth quarter, and you've got Jacobson in the game, and he'll drive left baseline, put it high off the glass. Tease with the offensive board and the putback.
good strong shot. Yeah, Dawson probably got hit even a little bit there, and he just powered it right through that shot, put that thing back in. So good drive by Dane. Didn't quite finish. Dawson cleaned it up.
So here we go. You got Kissinger, you got Jacobson, you got Konzen, Tease, and Bridges. Shelton getting the start here in the fourth quarter for Fort Calhoun. You got Sam Genoways in as well. Chase Primer getting some playing time, as well as Andrew Namath, the 6'2 sophomore. So these are guys who have not played yet tonight, I don't believe, and Blake Welkert, the 5'9 freshman, in the game. As they will have a quick steal here by Kissinger. Very quick left-hand reach in. He'll go hard. He'll put it up. He thought about dunking it, but he got it home anyway. It's 57-19, and Coach Mo says we're going to get some guys in the game here as well.
Get a 30-second. Sometimes you can take a timeout just to and substitute. That really isn't a thing in high school, although a lot of times they'll let you go with it if both coaches agree. But Coach wanted to take his 30-second timeout to make sure we're organized and remind these guys coming in, just keep it clean and play the game the right way.
By the way, Brooks Kissinger will end up with 17 tonight, right on his average. Elliot, you had a look there. Did you have a thought?
No.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know if you were trying to get my attention. But, hey, I'll ask you this, Elliot, since I pulled you in here. 17 points for Brooks. He had 30 the other night. He had, I think, 25 before that. Boy, he's been fun to watch, hasn't he?
Absolutely. He's really stepped up to the role that Kale left as, like, the catalyst for the offense. Guy who just is going to play make for everyone, and when the team needs him to go score and be a dude, he can step up and go make shots.
I like it. Step up and be a dude. He can do it. I like that. And here comes Fort Calhoun, 57-19 the score. And the Blue Jays, we're going to get Ty Carey in there. And here's a nice shot by Andrew Namath.
Yeah, nice strong move there by Andrew, going to the rim there and getting that thing high off the glass.
All right, here we go. We got some youth in here. 3 freshmen on the court for the Big Blue. As Tonjes will give it off to Landon Mose. There's Isaac Carson. He's a junior, and Ty Carey's a junior. There's the last freshman in there. That's Cal Kissinger, younger brother of Brooks.
We had the JV game today, Tim. The first half was really competitive. I think it might have been maybe a 5-6 point game at halftime.
That's right.
And our JV, again, the guys that play JV for us, very, they get to play the whole game. And sometimes, oftentimes at this level, you'll lose some guys that are varsity players. And so, we ended up with a really good second half and won that thing by about 20. But it was a really competitive game through 3 quarters.
And Ty Carey comes up with a steal down on the block. As the Blue Jays will work it around here. Derek Tonjes open 3 left corner, and he'll bingo it home.
Great job moving the ball side to side by the Blue Jays, making that extra pass for Tonjes. knock that thing down.
Here comes Skelton. Reaches over, and they'll work it. That's how this Blue Jay D plays here as Kissinger gets out quickly. Fort Calhoun being very patient here. And you know, Brad, this is, you see 3 freshmen out on the court. Looks like this Blue Jay program has some good things going here for the next few years, don't they?
Yeah, you know, our middle school program has been very successful. Brian Tim, Brian Peterman, Dan Valley have led those guys, you know, for the last several years. And you know, they're always competitive, you know, by far win more games than they lose, and they learn to play the right way. Brian was one of my former assistants when I was coaching here, and Dan Valley, heavens, he's got, you know, state tournaments, state championships.
That's right. Johnson?
Johnson Brock, long-time assistant coach, varsity assistant at Grand Island Senior High School. So our kids really have a, you know, great advantage and learn a lot from those guys.
Here's the freshman on the steal, Derek Tonjes. Can he put it down? No, he'll just lip it up over the front of the rim.
That's a lot of pressure for a youngster because everybody sees how tall he is and is thinking, he's going to dunk it. But you know, there are a lot of things that have to go right to be able to dunk the basketball.
Well,
so.
I wondered, but didn't he look like he was kind of tiptoeing up to the rim?
He was. Yep. He was trying to think, am I on pace? It's kind of like long jumping. Am I going to hit the board or not? And then he got a little smirk right as he got up, so he didn't quite feel like he was in rhythm. Oh, nice play, Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac Carson almost got that steal. And by the way, on the previous bucket, Tonjes with a really good feed underneath and found an open man. I believe it was Ty Carey, the recipient of that pass.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, good defense there by Carey as well with good help from Carson on the backside.
Skelton puts up a shot. This is a kid for Fort Calhoun. He puts on a little weight, gets a few more inches on him. He's going to be one heck of a player, that Skelton. And here comes Kissinger, and he banks it home.
Bingo!
Bingo, Brad Jacobson. Now we got a whistle and a timeout as Cal gives a point. I'm not sure. I think it's to Jordan Child, the assistant coach. And these Kissingers can shoot a little bit, huh, Brad?
Yeah, they can. Again, a transition, the ball's moving. I give Coach O'Connor here again. He's constantly teaching. He's going to make sure that his guys keep competing. 2 straight wide open threes. That's not acceptable, right? So he's got expectations for how his kids are going to defend. Game isn't over. This is a varsity basketball game. There's 3.5 minutes left, and we're going to play the right way. So I give him some credit. These are tough. These are tough moments when you're a leader of a program, and you know, because they're not coming back, right? And that's been clear for a long time. And so, but now it's about more than about the next 3.5 minutes. It's about the right now, but it's also about how this impacts what they do next week, next year, and years down the road.
I love it, too. And, you know, T.J. O'Connor, what a job he's done at Fort Calhoun. Of course, Jake Mose done a marvelous job here as well. And I think these two have a lot of respect for one another.
Yeah, I think they've known each other for quite some time. And I think, you know, T.J., I think his family has some roots in the North Platte area as well. So I think their fathers know one another and families know one another. And so, yeah, there's a lot of mutual respect for sure. And, you know, and Tyler Craven spent a year working for TJ as an assistant coach. So
Derek Tonjes, left baseline drive. He'll lift it up and get fouled. He'll go to the line, 69-23.
And again, the beauty of that is that ball started on the right wing, and it touched 4 hands before it got to Derek. So literally it moves around. The ball moves side to side, opens up those baseline drive. Derek did a nice job with the finish.
And Tonjes will hit that free throw. He's got 8. Made a lot of his time here. Skelton will dump it off over here. Don't forget, folks, Tuesday night, we'll have it for you on agbluejays.com. I'm sure that Platteview has some sort of a video strive as well.
Yeah, I think they're YouTube, Tim. If I'm in my minutes and minutes of preparation, I failed to look that up, but I'm pretty certain that they've been YouTube. So you can, if you go to YouTube and you search something like, you know, Springfield Platteview or Platteview Trojans or something like that, you usually can find the school. And then if you subscribe to those schools, then you'll be able to find access to those links. So, and usually it's free. YouTube is what just like ours is. It's like Strive. It's free to the viewer.
Well, tune them in, watch them on TV, and get us on agbluejays.com, and we're gonna have a fun night on Tuesday. It should be really intriguing matchup, without a doubt. Lando Moe spins it around, gets it down the corner to Kissinger.
I think Platteview that night too was planning, Colors of Hope, I believe, is their theme, and they're really doing some things. I don't know which. I'm not sure which student organization is doing it, but it's about cancer awareness. And so they sold T-shirts, different colors of T-shirts. I think our team, our players will wear a T-shirt in warm-ups, and I think their players are wearing a T-shirt in warm-ups. So they kind of have a special event that they've planned that night for cancer awareness. So if that's something that is special in your mind and heart, come on out to Springfield that night and watch that ball game up on the hill.
So glad you mentioned that as Derek Tondras comes out of there. He's got a 3-on-2 break, spin move in the paint, nice touch by the freshman. And by the way, not only a beautiful shot there by one freshman, but Lando Mose had a wonderful wraparound pass on the previous possession to get that bucket.
Yeah. These guys, there's just a lot of really good understanding of how to play. And again, these guys are going to benefit from having some wonderful role models, for many years now. They've been able to follow guys that play the right way. And Elliot mentioned that about Brooks, and I think, that's begins what starts to build programs is when they have good examples in front of them of how the game's supposed to be played.
Such a good point, and this will take us down to under 10 seconds. The Blue Jays up 74-23. They're going to head into Platteview on Tuesday night at 10-0. For that monumental matchup, and here comes a shot by Skelton at the buzzer. Was partially blocked in there by Landon Mose. So, Coach Mose with a 74-23 victory over Fort Calhoun. And Brad, look, I think coming into this game, a lot of people envisioned this where the Blue Jays could pull away in this one, but to win the way they won tonight, it was just really impressive to watch.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. Didn't expect that for sure, and I think we were very efficient in that first quarter and just stifling defense. There's a new word for you. I'm not sure you've used stifling yet. Have you used stifling?
Yeah, well,
maybe you did earlier.
I did earlier, but
disruptive.
Use it again. Disruptive.
I like disruptive.
Yeah, you came up with disruptive.
Defensively was tremendous, and just very much game control too. I mean, the Blue Jays never got out of rhythm. They never really got out of sorts. Never really tried to play outside themselves. They just stayed really sound. And that's what they showed at Auburn, too, on the road. So this is, sometimes a game like that, when it started like that, again, it can get sloppy. It can get to be a little bit garbage time, but it didn't today. I mean, they just kept the foot on the pedal and kept the pressure on and were clean and finished strong. So nice job by the Blue Jays today.
Well, since you're stealing my words tonight,
I know.
Are you going to say palpable?
Maybe you're right there. That wasn't the most spirited blue and white that I've ever seen. I believe there's been a few times there wasn't quite as much juice, but we'll take it. We'll take it. That's still a good tradition. So,
well, Elliot, the Blue Jays 10-0, and they've got a fun one coming up on Tuesday night. I want to get Brad's thought on that as well. But how do you go into this game? How do you make sure you don't go in overly jazzed up for this game against Platteview? This team really hasn't shown that as part of their character, but how do you make sure they go in and keep everything even keel on that game Tuesday night?
It's going to have to prepare like they did against Auburn or against Elkhorn of just, this is going to be a really good opponent, like Platteview, class above, and then ranked in the class above us. You just got to think, this is probably going to be a team that we might, similar to a team that we're going to see in districts or in a state or potential state run if we make it there, that you just got to be focused and no matter what, just play hard and give it everything, because these are the games that will prepare you for districts and state.
And Brad, to Elliot's point, this has been a pretty even keel team. I mean, they don't seem to get too high. They don't seem to get too low. And as a former coach, I imagine you have to really appreciate that trait about them.
No panic, and I think and you see it in football as well. I mean, there's just no panic, and they, the Wahoo game where we had that rotten end of the second quarter into the third and got behind, and fourth quarter just came out just very solidly and workmanlike and put it away.
Yeah.
And that's why a test like Tuesday is valuable. It's now you got short time. You're going to have one practice. Right, because it's Saturday,
right.
So you're going to get one practice on Monday. Obviously you're going to have a game plan, but you can't have a monumental game plan with a lot of detail because you got one day. So you got to figure out what's the most important. And Platteview presents challenges offensively. They are unbelievable. And they have multiple players that can score. They have an elite scorer too. They have one guy that is an elite scorer, which makes it hard to guard. And then they got other guys that are scorers as well. And they play hard and they play to get. The ball will move. Offensively, they present a ton of challenges. Over the years, again, defensively, they like to give different looks as well. And over the years, that's given us some problems. They're moving from man to zone to 2-3 zone to 3-2 zone, and just different things that maybe they'll show us that you don't necessarily see. It's a great opportunity, and it's a whale of a game for January.
And just to kind of let people know, you were talking obviously the prolific scorer being Connor Milliken, I would assume.
Yeah.
And then but then Draper has a 36-point game at one point this year too. So you're right. Offensively, this will be the greatest challenge the Blue Jays have probably faced as far as just a pure offensive team. Yeah,
and they play with pace. They spread the floor. They shoot. I mean, so we put rim pressure on people. They just put scoring, shooting pressure, and you got to guard them all, and you got to guard them away from the basket. That's part of why Milliken has been so dangerous, is because you have to guard their shooters, which means there's less people to load up and help on Milliken, and he's good at a lot of different things. He can go, he can stop, he can shoot threes, he can dribble right and left. So, I mean, they present a lot of challenges, but again, I think to Elliot's point, why wouldn't you want to play a team like this? And again, win or lose, because it does prepare you for what it looks like if we're going to go on down the road and beat the best people. So, you too, buddy.
Great seeing you guys. Kirby, good seeing you. Ryan, good seeing you. Absolutely, buddy. And here comes Mark Adele as he's going to give us those numbers. Mark, I got to imagine they look pretty good for the Big Blue.
They do. Very good. Would you believe we were 17 of 24 from the field in the second half?
Yep.
Wow.
And that's 29 of 50 for the game, 58%. They must not have wanted to shoot below 50% for.
Very, very efficient and very unselfish.
Really, yeah. 7 of 15 from 3, 47%. 8 of 11 from the line, 73%. For Fort Calhoun, the numbers aren't quite as good. 7 of 36 from the field, 19%. 2 of 15 from 3, 13%. They were 5 of 6 from the line, 83%. But we don't foul very much as a general rule. Rebounding, we killed them on the boards as well. 28 rebounds for us, 9 offensive. Dawson Teese, 8 boards. He would have had a double-double probably had he played the whole game. He had 8 points, 8 rebounds. Jackson Ham, 3 offensive, 4 rebounds in limited minutes. At being 5'10", and he caused a couple turnovers too. He's a real hustler out there.
Yes, he is.
And so we had just turned it over just 7 times, and they turned it over 22. So we killed them on turnovers as well. And they had a commercial on last year about they were going to have a bowling match with Peyton Manning's team and another team, and they played this song from ELO, the first headed for a showdown, and that's what we are on Tuesday night with Platteview.
Not only does Mark quote the lyrics, but he sings the song too. And I think he carried that melody.
I'm speechless, Tim. I'm just speechless.
Well, here's a guy that can't carry a melody. I know that.
No. You could give a really big bucket and spot in the tune, and there's no shot.
Well, we won't put that kind of pressure on you tonight, Tyler Craven. But you know what? And don't take offense to that, by the way.
Yeah,
but hey, listen.
Hey, Tim, can you hand me the pizza while you're asking questions?
Yeah, absolutely. We got oh my goodness, we got a bunch of pizza, Brad. I thought it was a couple slices. That's like a pie. And again, a big thank you out to the good folks at Calvin's Legacy. All right, Coach Craven, listen. They shoot 19% from the field and 13% from 3. You shut them to 2 points in the first quarter. Have to be pretty happy with that defense, I got to imagine.
Yeah, I thought our guys did a great job of kind of buying into the defensive end, understanding that, both times we played them last year, they scored quite a bit, over 50, I think, and Bauman scored, over 20 one of them and pretty high the other one. So we understood we had to kind of hold him, and the guys did a great job.
Coach, I've got him for 3. I don't know if that's what you had him for, but a guy averaging 15, I mean, you really held him down.
Yeah, Brooks did a great job. We haven't necessarily put Brooks on best players all year. We wanted to kind of challenge him. We thought maybe we needed to give him a different kind of challenge, and he met it today. So
Fantastic. Well, listen, let me ask you this. On the flip side, one thing that Brad and I chronicled a lot in this game, but we haven't talked a lot about your ability to shoot threes. Tonight you shoot incredibly well from 3. I've got you at 47%. Mark had you at 47%, I should say. And you're shooting over, 43% on the year. So why are you guys shooting so well? What are you doing so well to set those shots up?
I think it's our guys. The time they spend in the gym, the time they spend outside of practice, and the amount of fondness they have for their teammates in basketball is something that they take to when we're not in a planned practice or a planned game or a planned team event. And so I think, just that, having the ball in their hands, getting a feel for it, taking ownership of their own skill development has really led to them performing like that and scoring 70 in a game.
I love it. Well, listen, we got to talk to you a little bit about Platteview before we let you go. I mean, it's just going to be a fun one Tuesday night. What a great environment that's going to be.
Oh, my gosh. We're excited. We told the guys we know it's going to be a packed place. We know that they're going to come and give us everything we can handle. If we want to get better defensively, guarding them is the best thing to do. We wish we could practice with them sometimes because, man, they shoot it. They can score it. They're really, really skilled throughout. It's going to be awesome.
Well, listen, and that's what Brad said, man. They have got some great offensive pieces. It's going to be so much fun. But congrats on a great win tonight, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Hey, thanks, Tim. We got some
buddy.
great kids. Thanks for what you do.
You want a piece of pizza?
I'm okay.
All right, buddy. Well, I was going to say, there we go. We'll get the headset over here to Cade. And Cade, hey, another night. You come out here. But before we get to your threes, one of the things we mentioned on air tonight, I told Brad and Elliott, look, a lot of people look at you as that three-point sharpshooter, but you're getting over 2 steals a game, and tonight you had a couple as well. And Brad said the reason, Mr. Jacobson said, your principal, by the way, said that the reason you believe in that is because obviously it helps set up the offense. So talk a little bit about that.
If I'm being honest, I'm not the best one-on-one defender. So if I just get a steal, you don't have to play one-on-one defense. That's kind of my mindset. But, just kind of jumping in the lanes and hoping that they pass it pretty much. You're
such a humble kid. Well, listen, your defense is better than you even give it credit for, by the way.
Thank you, Tim.
But, hey, you're shooting again. Great high percentage. You're doing a great job. Talk a little bit about your confidence shooting the tray this year.
Yeah, definitely just stepping up and knowing the next one's in if you missed the one before, and just got to trust your hours in the gym and muscle memory that's going to go in.
Well, Coach Craven was talking about the 3 trays tonight. You finished with 11. Congrats. And I know Mr. Jacobson's got some questions for you.
You did. I will say your first 3, you did catch Tim off guard a little bit.
We don't need to talk about that.
It didn't look like it was going in.
Oh, it felt horrible.
Yeah, well, I could understand that. But I'll give you credit. You didn't pretend like you meant to do it because you didn't mean to do it when it banked in. But you did. You got no bingo out of that because he was caught off guard. So
I don't think that one deserves a bingo.
Probably not.
Yeah, that one was pretty bad.
We decided that was a bank bingo. We're going to call that a bank bingo.
Bank bingo.
But it was a little bit delayed. So.
Well, we said here, I3 Bank and Farmers and Merchants, they were thrilled, though. They were absolutely thrilled. You gave them a little publicity today.
There you go.
Yeah, so, one of the things I thought defensively, and there's part of the game where you are guarding the ball, but let's be honest, most of the time the majority of the players are not guarding the ball, and so being off the ball and doing things the right way and playing with your teammates, I think. So, talk a little bit about, if you would, just like how do you guys develop that defensive cohesion and learn to help and play off of one another on the defensive end?
A big thing that we do in practice is like guarding the best player. So like, say Brooks is guarding Drake in practice, for example, we have to feed into feed into Brooks's guy and guard Drake as a team instead of just one-on-one. Because we play some pretty good play some pretty good players, and it's hard to defend them. So just got to trust that your guys and help, pretty much.
Well, I could imagine there's probably some fairly nasty 5-on-5 battles that happen in practice around this place occasionally,
we get going
too.
At it
so
sometimes.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Out of curiosity, too, do you guys split, right, the first team? So it's not 5 versus the second 5. You're splitting down the middle when you guys scrimmage?
It's usually 5 versus 5, pretty much. So, yeah. The first 5 versus the bench 5, but they're pretty close no matter where.
Well, Jackson Ham will bang around on you. And, you held Grayson Bowman down. Bauman, my apologies to him. You held him down today, just 3 points. So, I mean, a tremendous job tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
he's a good player.
Yeah, he is. All right, listen, you got Platteview Tuesday, going to be a lot of fun. So go enjoy that,
definitely.
all right?
Yep.
All
Thank
right,
you, Tim.
buddy. Way
Thank
to
you, guys.
shoot.
Thank you.
And you want any pizza here to go?
I might have to.
Okay,
I'm pretty hungry.
You're
Yep.
welcome. You're welcome to have some of that. We're waiting for Jackson Ham. Now, Jackson did tell me he was supposed to come up the last time we did a game, and he said he's a little shy. So
What?
Yeah, he said he's not sure exactly.
Elliot and I don't buy that. Jackson Ham shy. Elliot, do you buy that? Jackson Ham is claiming he's shy. You buying that?
Maybe not. Maybe just on like the
Broadcast.
Maybe just on air.
Yeah.
Definitely not in the classroom.
Well, I mean, and I'll remind him when he comes up. I'll remind him that, that there were 5,000 viewers at the holiday tournament. Maybe I'll remind him of that just to maybe help his nerves a little bit, because that's what I do, Tim. I want to help him.
I think you must have told him that. That's probably what's intimidated him from
Could
coming
be.
up here. But
That
yeah,
could be.
What he said was, hey, I can talk. Oh, here we go. Dawson will come up. He said, I can talk football all day long. But he said, I don't know how well I can talk basketball. But here's a guy that we think can talk some basketball. Guy that we have him down for 8 boards tonight. Dawson Teese. Dawson, tell us a little bit about how you're hammering the boards. You're doing a great job on that.
I'm just told to get rebounds, dump downs, and I'm just doing my role really well, and it's working.
But, one other thing that you're doing is, and Brad and I, and Mr. Jacobson and I and Elliot all talked about this, your ability to score. You're getting much more comfortable offensively. Talk about what's giving you that confidence.
I say probably getting in the gym more, getting the dump downs and finishing around the rim, getting that extra time after practice with TC or Mo's, just working.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Dawson, one kind of specific thing you saw a lot tonight, we had a lot of guys drive. Fort Calhoun is good enough defensively that we didn't get a lot of straight line easy ones. We had guys landed on 2 feet, and it appears like as a under the basket player, but it could be anybody. It's that secondary cut or that kind of that loop under the rim for the little dump downs. Talk a little bit about, from a player's perspective, what do you look for and what kind of gives you the cue of when to move and what spot to be in so you can receive that pass?
So what I look for on that is if I see 2 or if I see my man go to Brooks or someone that's handling the ball, I dive down quickly, or say the big is following me out to the arc, just scoot out to the arc and have Brooks do his thing.
I like that.
Yeah, Brooks, listen, Brooks is coming up to eat my pizza. Now, he had my banana and some carrots the other night. And now, yeah, let's give him some. You burned a few calories tonight,
Let's go.
Brooks, so. And he takes 1 piece.
1 piece, all that effort. I think he burned that piece. When you're that age, you burn that piece of pizza off just running up the bleachers.
Exactly.
You and I, Tim, we eat 1 piece of pizza and we're going to gain 3 pounds.
Yeah, but I can't stop at 1. That's my problem.
Well, that's the problem.
So,
yeah, that'll be a problem.
All right, Dawson, Tuesday night. Going to be a lot of fun. Go have some fun with that. These are what you play for, right? These big games?
That's right. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Thank you so much
Job.
for coming. Now, tell me what happened to Jackson. What happened to Jackson tonight? He said he's shy. Jackson Ham? No. Oh, no.
No clue.
Okay. Okay. We thought you were the runner for us tonight.
Oh,
so,
no.
All right. Well, buddy, great job.
Thank you.
Great to see you up here. And, Brad, I don't think we're going to get Coach Mose. He's talking to Dan Pike over there, one of his former assistants. So I'm going to give you the final say. You and Elliot can wrap this thing up here. Tell me your thoughts here on tonight's ball game.
Just really complete effort, complete game, and again, we've had multiple games down the road that we have been really solid, and I think you're still seeing some incremental growth within that. And what I like to see is, again, statistically, it's good, but it's not like it's just blowing the wheels off of things. Like, watching that game, if you'd have covered up the scoreboard, I don't know if anybody would have. 75, that's a lot of points in a high school game. The clock ran we kind of almost forget about that. The clock ran the last 4 or 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And so that's
right.
a lot of points to score. It's different, but again, the efficiency with which our guys are playing and the low number of turnovers and the high number of assists, I think, and just really some good things happening right now with this group of guys.
And Ellie, your thoughts here to wrap things up.
Absolutely agree on just take away the scoreboard. It's a completely different game because for me, like I didn't really realize that Fort Calhoun didn't score in that first quarter. I thought they've got a couple buckets because they were attacking well and just nothing was falling for them. It just seemed like someone might have gone in.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys, I had a ball with both of you tonight. Thank you. As Kevin comes up, you guys are awesome. And thank you so much, fellas. Once again, 74-25 23. The Blue Jays win. They're 10-0. They will take on Platteview on Tuesday night. We'll have that on agbluejays.com. And, of course, check for their video feed on YouTube at Platteview. For Brad Jacobson and Elliot Gosson and Mark Adele, I'm Tim Washburn saying so long. We'll see you Tuesday.
Go Jays.